Protected each other. That's what they were. They was a team. They was a unit. Going strictly to them for the help of burying my children. So that's the best that anybody can do for me. It's only right to celebrate the life where it ended.
Police do the things that she did to her own family. It really bothers me. It hurts. She lived for her children, and to lose them all in one day, she is completely devastated.
She chose to do this. I can't show her no sympathy. I hate to be like that, especially in this time, but it is what it is.
Patricia May was 74. She got out of the car that day for one reason. Her granddaughter asked her to come inside. That's the whole decision. No warning signs she could see, no reason to hesitate. Just a woman doing what grandmothers do when family calls them in. She didn't walk back out. Neither did 4 other people she loved before that same week was over. This is a story about trust, the kind that gets built over decades of showing up for people, and how quickly it can be turned into the exact thing that gets you killed. Before we get into what happened to the Mays and the Thompsons, I want you to sit with that for a second. Because everything that follows started with a family simply trying to protect one of their own. Patricia worked at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, for 25 years. Around East St. Louis, people just called her Granny. Didn't matter whose granny she actually was. If she knew you, she claimed you. Her daughter, Cherie May, 49, was the one you called first when something went wrong. No lecture, no questions. She just showed up. Her son, Devin, 24, had a 1-year-old daughter he was completely wrapped around. The kind of father who didn't let anyone say a sideways word about his kid. And then there was Quentin and Shania Thompson, 21 and 25, brother and sister. Quentin Drew loved anime, had that quiet imagination running behind his eyes. Shania could cook, not holiday dinner cook, restaurant dream cook. She talked about putting her name on a door one day. 5 people, a grandmother, a mother, a son, a sister, a brother. Real lives still in motion, with real plans for next year. From the outside, this was an ordinary East St. Louis family. Big, close, the kind that shows up for each other. That part was true. It just wasn't the whole story. Because inside that family was a 15-year-old girl in a relationship with a 16-year-old named Jameer Davis. And her family did not want him around. A pastor who says she knows the family put it plainly on camera. The teens plotted the shootings because relatives wouldn't let them stay together. Because Jameer already had a stolen gun in his hands before anyone even told him no. This wasn't the first time this played out either. The 2 of them had run off together before, more than once. Every time her family found her, every time they brought her home. That's not 2 teenagers fighting the world for love. That's a family running an active recovery mission on a girl they refused to let go of. So when they finally drew a hard line, this boy does not move in. They had no idea no wasn't going to end a relationship. It was going to end 5 lives instead. Here's what makes this case different from most. This family didn't miss the warning signs. They saw them. They reported them. It still wasn't enough. The gun used in the shootings was stolen from the 15-year-old's own mother. Taken from a locked box, keys pulled from her purse. She noticed it was missing. She called the police. That's one report on record. According to Jameer's mother, speaking days after her son's arrest, and this account hasn't been independently confirmed by prosecutors. That wasn't the only one. 2 mothers, multiple calls. What came back by her account was a case number. No follow-up. If even half of that holds up, this wasn't a family that looked away. It was a family that tried and got paperwork instead of intervention. And underneath all of it, neither mother knew the full size of what was already being built between the 2 teenagers. A list of exactly who would need to be dealt with before they could be together. We'll get to what was actually written on it. Cherie May was killed first, sometime between July 5th and July 7th, at the Samuel Gompers housing complex. Her body was found in a storage tote behind a dumpster. Days passed before anyone even knew she was gone. On July 12th, her brother Devin and her mother Patricia went to that same apartment. They hadn't heard from Cherie. They went to check on her. Prosecutors say Jameer Davis was already inside, waiting in a closet. Devin was shot first. Patricia was outside in the car. Prosecutors say her own granddaughter went out and brought her in. Davis stepped out of the closet and shot her too. Then, prosecutors say, he cut off her thumb. A 74-year-old woman walked into that apartment because someone she loved asked her to. That's the whole tragedy in one sentence. Trust used as the door. The violence didn't stop there. That same day, across 2 more locations, Jones Park and a home at 39th and Summit, Quinton and Shania Thompson were shot and killed. 2 more family members were shot and survived. 7 people shot in 1 week. 5 did not survive it. State troopers caught up with the 2 teenagers at Frank Holton State Park, driving a car that wasn't theirs. The whole thing, planning, killing, running, lasted less than a week. Inside that stolen car, sitting in the center console, was a woman's severed thumb. Some getaway. Illinois State Police called it what it was: a targeted mass shooting against one family, spread across 3 crime scenes. Investigators were clear on one point: no bystanders. Every single victim had a direct connection to this family. That's precision in the worst possible sense. Officials also confirmed something that mattered a great deal to the case. At least one of the suspects was related to the victims. This wasn't an attack from outside the family. It came from inside it. From here, this stopped being a mystery fast. Investigators didn't just find 2 teenagers in a stolen car. They found a paper trail. Prosecutors say Jameer wrote his girlfriend about shooting and stabbing a cousin. Her response: "I can do that. I love blood." She also wrote him a line that says more than almost anything else in this case: "Babe, I'm going to lose my whole family for you." That's the list we mentioned, not a document. A plan written out in messages, naming exactly who stood between them and being together, and what they were willing to do about it. Read in open court, off an actual phone, by a prosecutor holding the receipts. And after all of that, the timeline, the thumb, the messages, here's how Jameer Davis's own attorney chose to describe him in court. Not the hunter, the hunted. A defense attorney's job is to say that. That's the job. Whether it holds up in front of a jury is an entirely different conversation, and we are nowhere near having it yet. The girl, meanwhile, is still only known publicly by 2 initials, WT, while prosecutors fight to move her case into adult court too. 2 teenagers, 12 felony counts between them so far. A trial that hasn't happened yet. And a family that had already buried 5 people before anyone in a courtroom said the word guilty out loud. So where does this actually stand right now? A judge already ruled Jameer Davis stays exactly where he is. No bond, no release. Prosecutors argued he's a real and present danger, and the judge agreed. Illinois did away with cash bail a while back, so this was never about money. It was about whether he's safe to be anywhere near the outside world before trial. The answer was no. Think about that for a second. A 16-year-old whose own lawyer is already building a self-defense case from inside a jail cell. That's a hard sell. That's asking a jury to believe the hunted one somehow ended up holding the only working gun. His girlfriend's case is still sitting in juvenile court for now, while prosecutors push to get her moved to adult court alongside him. No trial date exists yet. Not for either of them. 2 teenagers, 12 felony charges between them and counting. A family that had already planned 5 funerals without a single word of guilty or not guilty ever spoken in a courtroom. This case is not over. It's barely started. The night after that bond hearing, hundreds of people packed into All Nations Church for a prayer vigil. And what stood out wasn't just grief for the 5 who died, it was how tangled up people's feelings were. One woman put it about as honestly as anyone could. They're taught to forgive, to love one another. But she couldn't stop wondering what the girl was thinking. They wanted to be together. Now they never will be. Forgive, but also, look what together actually cost. Jameer's mother posted publicly about her son not long after his arrest. Hundreds of shares, dozens of comments, people reaching out just to keep the argument going. Whatever you think of what she said, that's what happens when someone's pain becomes a comment section. The pastor leading that vigil said something simple but true. Some of these victims had been part of that church for 20, 30, 50 years. This wasn't a headline to that community. It was family, in the pews, gone. A city councilman stood at a press conference days later and made a point of saying the work this community has done to bring violence down, real, measurable progress, wasn't going to be erased by one act, no matter how horrific. That's not spin. That's a city trying to hold two things at once: grief and the refusal to let grief be the whole story. Before we close this out, here are the 5 people this story is actually about. One more time, by name: Patricia May, Cherie May, Devin May, Quentin Thompson, Shania Thompson. Every one of them was loved long before any of this happened, and long before the world knew their names for the worst possible reason. A 74-year-old woman got out of a car because someone she loved asked her to come inside. That's it. That's the whole tragedy in one sentence. Trust used as the door. If this case is still developing by the time you're watching this, because it is, new hearing dates, the push to try a 15-year-old as an adult, whatever comes next, we'll be here for it. If you enjoy true crime content, make sure to subscribe to Love to Death channel for more shocking cases, in-depth investigations, and updates on stories like this one. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Fair use notice. This video is for educational and commentary purposes only. All footage and images used fall under fair use guidelines as protected under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act.
Illinois State Police are investigating after 5 people were killed in a mass shooting in southern Illinois. 2 others were hurt, and 2 teens have been arrested. The victims were shot in 3 different locations in East St. Louis. The suspects are just 15 and 16 years old. State police say at least one suspect is related to at least one of the victims, who are all members of the same family. They ranged in age from 21 to 74 years old.
These alleged acts of horrific violence, taking this number of lives here in this community. It's terrible, it's evil, but it will not keep this city down.
Police say the victims were targeted, but they have not determined a motive for the shooting.
This morning, we are following the possibility for some significant developments in what authorities call a targeted mass shooting in East St. Louis.
7 people from the same family were shot. 5 of them died. Fox 2's Chris Fournier is live downtown with what could happen this morning. Chris?
Well, good morning to you, Mike. Good morning to you as well. Prosecutors in St. Clair County over in Belleville say they have been thoroughly reviewing this case and that criminal charges will most likely come this morning against the 2 suspects already in custody. Those suspects are just 15 and 16 years old. These shootings happened at 3 different locations in East St. Louis on Sunday morning. 3 people were shot and killed at the Gompers housing complex. 3 others were shot at Jones Park. 1 person died there. 2 others survived with serious injuries. And 1 other person was murdered at a home at 39th and Summit. There was a large police scene at the Gompers complex where those 3 people were killed. Illinois State Police, along with East St. Louis Police, are investigating this case. Authorities say the 5 in total who were killed range in age from 21 years old to 74 years old. The 2 teen suspects were taken into custody at Frank Holton State Park, also in East St. Louis, after authorities were able to get the car they were in stopped. 49-year-old Cherie May was one of those killed at the Gompers complex. We spoke with one of her friends.
It's just sad, you know, right there around the corner, and I just met her about 2 years now. She was a good girl.
What do you remember about her most?
Sit out here and chill.
Authorities have not yet released details about a possible motive in these shootings. We could learn more about that when the official charges are filed. We could also officially learn the suspects' names. That's because even though they are juveniles, we understand that they will likely be charged as adults we will see what today brings as it all develops. For now, live near downtown, Chris Bernier, Fox News.